So Ray, um, and I kept going. Things kept getting worse, and I defended him, but that thought was festering in my chest of him being sexual with someone else. Um, and so I did something awful, and we sat in our car, in his car, and talked a very long time. Ended in a lot of crying, a lot of sobbing. We decided to take a break, or maybe we broke up, stay friends. I don't remember. Um, and I wanted him to know. I wanted him to hurt the way that I hurt. And so I asked him to drop me off at the park to meet Vinny. Um, and Vinny and I did the deed. Um, of course he knew. I felt sick to my stomach about it, but I met him later and we hung out. Um, and that aspect of this situation of my entire life alone was enough for me to be like, not only do I want to die, but I deserve to die. I don't deserve to live like this. I don't deserve to live because of this. Um, and so the self-harming upticked um, significantly. Uh, and I believe it had been the junior year that summer between junior and senior year that we had broken up. And going into senior year, Vinny and I were still friends. Um, and he was actually the one driving me to and from work at my very first job at a fast food restaurant. When I was a cashier, and I was 17. And I remember I'd only been there for like maybe 2 weeks, where um, these two guys came and ordered food. One of them didn't talk to me, one of them did. Um, and the one that did talk to me came up later and told me that the guy that didn't talk to me wanted my number. Um, I gave it to him. And now I think about it and I think that was the catalyst for the way my adult life would have been set up. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Um, I'm gonna call him Chester. Eh, eh, that's what we're calling him. Diet Coke break. I am going to call him Chester, because he ended up after very shortly after that, he ended up applying to that place very quickly, and I was the one that actually ended up training him. Um, he asked me on a date, and that date was walking on this trail. But it was summer, it was really hot, and I don't know about you, but I get a little grumpy when I'm warm, so I was definitely that. And there were red flags in the beginning of that relationship, um, because I would get sensory overloaded when we would hang out, and he would get upset about that. So I remember one time, um, we were walking to his friend's apartment, and he had kept trying to touch me, and I kept telling him to stop touching me. He kept trying to like touch my shoulder, hug me, and I kept saying like, and eventually I snapped. I said, "Stop fucking touching me." And then he shut down. And we got to the apartment, and he didn't wordlessly. He went to the middle of the living room. He laid face first, plank style, in the carpet, and he wouldn't talk to me until I begged him to forgive me. Um, so that started the beginning of a relationship I would have been in for years. Uh, Ray found out and we stopped being friends. Um, Rena told me that I was lucky that she still considered me a friend. Um, and Lori kind of followed behind her on that. Um, So I don't talk to either of them anymore. I haven't talked to either of them. Um, because obviously the lucky to still be your friend and the coinciding thought of I deserve to die for this, I just completely shut down. I stopped talking to them. I stopped talking to everyone. I think I still talk to Kay, um, and Annie, but that was it. Um, and then entered the very lonely era of my life, my senior year. Now, keep in mind, I haven't said anything about it, but freshman through junior year, I was a straight A student. I was really passionate about Spanish. I was in the Spanish club. I was creative writing. I was doing all sorts of things. I never missed school. An honor student. And then senior year hit, and it was like I went right back to elementary school because I had this class with Ray and I never wanted to see him again. I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't make it. So I dyed my hair pitch black. Um, I started wearing long sleeves. Um, and I skipped, I believe, a third of the school year. Um, and during the third of the school year, I spent pretty much every waking minute with Chester. And Chester, the guy that came with Chester that day, at the fast food restaurant, I'm gonna call him Al. Um, well, Al introduced us to his boyfriend. Um, I don't know what to call him. I'm gonna call him T. Um, and T was multiple years older than us, and I really liked T. He's quirky, he was vibrant, and I felt so cool hanging out with someone that was older than me. Actually, this whole thing I felt cooler because Chester was multiple years older than me. He was probably like, I think he turned 3 or 4 years older than me. I don't remember at this point, it doesn't matter. Um, and T had taken me down a really dark path. Now, I mentioned before that my household had been riddled with drugs and alcohol and narcotics and manipulation to find these narcotics and pathological lying and manipulation and everything of that nature. And I'm not saying T did that to me, but I am saying that that set up a easy path for me to follow. Um, because T, Al, and I would stay out all night, um, doing drugs, cruising around town. Um, and then I just would like not go to school. Um, and I did that for a long time. And Chester, whose dad passed away from ODing, he, or I think it was connected to ODing. I don't remember. Like I said, the memories are kind of fuzzy. He was incredibly against any sort of drugs or alcohol in any capacity. He had been 20, he was 21 and he wasn't ever going to drink alcohol. Um, so this was like a huge secret I was keeping from him, sneaking out in the night and snorting pills or whatever the fuck we were doing. Um, and I want to make a whole video based around Chester and my relationship with him. Um, so I'm going to do that now.